So my special guest, I think they're ready for us. You ready?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So what's up, everyone? Welcome to the fourth edition of 2 a.m. in Sweden, aka We Got Next. I'm one of your hosts of the show, Hayes, aka AO Shifty, with the one, the only, at Steven_Springs. Steven, how you been? How's life going? Remember, we're always powered by StreamYard.
Yeah, powered by StreamYard. Can't forget that. Things are good, man. Your boy's back. I wouldn't say he's better than ever, but your boy's back. You know, we're working our way through things. The last 3 weeks of life are, it's like school's done. The kids are just checked out. Spring sports is ending and summer sports starts at the same time. So everybody in the family is on a different schedule. Baseball is ending, soccer is ending, swimming is starting. I'll talk about swimming for Mason at the end. School's being let out. Mia has some half days. Mason does not. It's the 3-week gap. There's no other week stretch like it, because at the end of the summer, everyone's done with the summer, done with the pool, did your vacations, everyone's geared up for the fall. People take a week to get ready for school, in the fall. It's crazy.
Yeah.
End of the school, everyone just checked out. Now it's hot too. You're close to me. It's 90. It's been in the 90s all week. It's going to continue to rise. It's going to be 95 degrees on Friday. So this 3-week stretch, I feel like I was texting my boss, and I texted you. I was like, "Yo, bro, I need 3 weeks off. I need some time because I just don't know, with our schedule and swim team, the pool's open. Our kids love the pool. We were talking about this before we came on. We're at the pool. I got home at 8:45. We got the pool at 5:15. We were there for 3 hours. We were there for 3.5 hours. Which most of the time it's not that bad because my friends were there. Me and Brooke's friends, our kids' friends are there. Everyone's happy. We typically do dinner there. We had Chick-fil-A for dinner tonight. So it's not that bad, but it does take a lot out of you. I'm probably gonna go to sleep after this. I told you, I might fall asleep midway through this. I'm not too sure. But I did I went on a golf trip with some of the boys from down here. Went to State College for the weekend. So that was dope. But outside of that, just trying to survive, dude. Survive in advance.
Yeah, that's kind of how it is.
Yeah.
So I was actually going to save this for the end, but since you brought up needing a vacation, so a lot of people know at this point that I joke around. I work with the Billies. Our headquarters is in Sweden, aka the 2 a.m. in Sweden kind of came about. Well, in Sweden, everyone over there goes on vacation the second week in July, and they're gone for 5 to 6 weeks. They just all take off. And then get this. So this one dude I have to work with, because I work a lot with the IS and IT department, he's about to go on paternity leave. So he's tacking that on top of the 5 to 6 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
So we're all thinking, all right, mind you, here, you can take up to 6 to 7 weeks, maybe 8 if you're lucky, for paternity leave.
Yeah.
This man is going to be gone for a hot second.
Yeah.
So over there, they have vacation.
Good for him.
Yeah. So I was shout out to, I'm not mad. You still get to get paid while you end up doing it, but it's very different than how we have it over here. Clearly. Yeah. So I have 3 hot takes for us, and we're going to dive into the finance and the crypto and then the sports side of things. First thing is, so I follow this page. I follow it. It's good and bad. It's called DMV News Live. Since I started following it, I realized there's so much shit that actually happens right outside of my apartment. Yeah,
I started following that actually when those tornadoes were going on, close to. I don't know if you had any, but there was a couple massive ones.
Yep.
Real Midwest tornadoes in Maryland, which is a super rare thing. But I started following that. I had to unfollow because it was just going nuts.
Yo, so okay. For anyone that doesn't know, I live right near DC, and a lot of the DC shit comes into my area. So then they'll say, oh, shooting happened here. Oh, this and that happened. Oh, robbery. Oh, this. And I'm like, damn, that's right across the street. But I bring this up because they said protesters in Virginia set up in McLean on the highway, which I used to go straight through there all the time. But the thing is, they set up in hopes of catching President Biden to stop him. They blocked the wrong highway because Biden took another road.
Do they think that he's gonna? Do they think that he's still gonna go that way? Do they think that his motorcade, which is like the most heavily guarded piece of like vehicle in the world for President Biden. Do they think that they're really going to go that way and try and like go around them like it's a fucking like construction zone? Like flaggers.
Yo, they took a whole different way. And it's so funny because you just see the cars that are clearly just annoyed because they definitely were like, all right, what the hell? Then the protesters thought they were doing this for a good reason, but you don't know when he's supposed to come at that point. Is someone over there hitting you up like, yo, turns out we got the wrong road?
Bro, and like the Secret Service knows everything.
Exactly.
Like they probably saw those people, like someone spotted that, reported it to the Secret Service and the FBI. And they were like, oh, boom, like, cool.
Another way.
We're going to go to the other side of the city and not even come remotely close to those people. Like,
Any of it.
Idiots.
Yeah. So that was the first one. The second one that I wanted to bring up is the game yesterday. I think we can mention it now. One, what are your thoughts on the outcome of the game? Are you fine with it? Did you feel it should have gone a different way?
We're talking about what are we talking about?
The NBA game.
Yeah.
NBA
Okay.
Finals.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I was one of those people. I'm sure you were probably too. Like, I would love to see it go back to Dallas. Dallas played great in game 4. Did not see last night coming. Boston was probably the best team in the league all season.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's been so boring. Like since the bubble finals, it's been so boring. What was it? It was Milwaukee and Phoenix the year after that. And then Boston, Golden State, and who was last year? Denver and
Miami.
Yeah, like come on. Like that's I know the Warriors, but like the Warriors, like even with like that name, it faded away. It's not like the 2015, 2016, 2017 Warriors.
Yeah.
Denver, like now people hate Denver. People are cool with it, cool with them winning, but now people hate them. Boston, I don't know. I don't really care. I don't really like Boston. Like I don't mind Jason Tatum, don't mind Jaylen Brown. Al Horford, whatever. Joe Mazzulla, kind of bugging sometimes, but whatever, that's who he is. Shout out Brad Stevens. I do like him.
Yeah.
I don't know, this doesn't do anything for me,
No.
Like whatever. I would have felt the same way if Dallas would have won though. I would have felt the same way. Luka, love Luka. One of the best top 2 or 3 players in the league. But whatever though. Like this doesn't do anything. Next year, Lakers in 7, whatever.
Yeah.
Let's make some moves, LA.
Yeah.
But this didn't move the needle.
No.
Maybe they thought it would. I don't know. Also, like back in the day, even I don't know if it's because LeBron was always in the finals. Like when we were from 2010 to 2018, he's always in the finals, 8 straight seasons. But I don't know if it's because of that or, they were playing the Warriors all the time. He was playing the Spurs when he was in Miami. But there was so much hype, building up to the finals. Or when the finals were about to happen. And even game 1 to 7, all the games were so hype. Now it's like these dudes aren't even talking about the finals during during the day shows. They're not talking about that. They're talking about bullshit. This is a whole other tangent that I could go down because I'm done with Stephen A. I've been done with him for a while, but I think the last 2 months, they don't. It's not that's not they're not talking about sports. They're talking about shenanigans. They're not talking about the game. Game 4 or game 5 was last night, and they were talking about I don't even know. JJ Redick starting a podcast with LeBron, and it was a bad idea. What are we doing? But back to that's a whole topic. Back to your original question. I'm okay with Boston winning. Jason Tatum, corny as shit for all the shit he was saying after the game, dude.
Everything. They had a video of all of it.
Bro, none of that did what he thought it was probably going to do.
Nope.
He thought it was going to hit. He thought it was going to be a Boston, dude, people are going to love it. Him and KG back to back, saying what he said. Him dropping the mic with the Kanye line, it just didn't hit. Didn't hit, dude. I don't know. It fell completely flat. he was hyping it up, but it did not work.
Nope, at all.
Did not work.
No, at
Did
all.
you watch? How much of the finals did you watch? Like 100%? Scale 1 to 10.
So I watched none of the games until the last game, which was yesterday. And the reason why I watched it is I saw my brother over the weekend. He texted me saying, "Yo, I want to come over for one of the finals games." I was always doing some shit. So then he said, "All right, I'm gonna come over for this game." So I said, "Fine. Like, you can come over. We can end up watching. I'll be on the computer." I ended up watching way more than I thought I was gonna watch of it. And then we watched the post-game conference and everything. And mind you, he didn't have to go to work today. So I'm like, God damn, it's 11:30 by the time he left.
Steve.
And I'm over here trying to go to bed. And then it's like, you can't just kick your brother out. So I'm over here saying, all right, I'm going to just take care of everything. Maybe he's going to be on the way out in a second. But so I watched the whole thing, saw Jaylen Brown, saw Jason Tatum. I just think sports are about storylines and messiness more so now than what it used to be. And I say that because when Jaylen Brown received the Finals MVP, they switched the camera to Jason Tatum. That was intentionally done. Like, there was no other reason for you to do that. The other thing was they kept focusing in on the Jason Tatum and then Deuce. Yes, I get that. That's a great thing too, but you're looking for a lot of storylines. And the other thing, and I told people this, which I'm glad Edmonton is winning tonight, there was no way you were going to have both 3-0 teams sweep both series in hockey and in basketball. And so the basketball one, all right, they got another game. I personally did put a decent sized bet for me on the Panthers because I said, oh, if the Celtics did it, the Panthers are going to do it. Edmonton said, nah, we're not going to play with that storyline narrative. So Edmonton Oilers are winning 3-0 right now, which I highly doubt Panthers are going to come back. And they're playing in Florida too. But so I watched a lot of it. The only thing I will say about the series is, well, two things. One, Drew Holiday is legit, which a lot of people may or may not have known that. Two, Luka plays no defense at all. And they expose the shit out of every single part of him that the moment he plays an ounce of defense, he just is tired on offense. And they started comparing it to Nikola Jokic. Only difference is Nikola Jokic has to go up against the big men, whereas they won't tire him out as much. Luka has to go up against some of the quickest two guards, maybe even the forwards and point guards there are.
He's pretty good about being able to get away with using his strength because he's 6'8", 230, right? He's a big dude, maybe more. But he gets a couple spurts of quickness.
Yes.
Like, imagine if you had this is a very big extreme. Imagine if you had Kyrie's quickness.
Mm-hmm.
That's like people saying if Kyrie was 6'6", he'd be the best player of all time.
Yeah,
which I can go for that. But yeah, Luka he doesn't play defense. It sucks. That's why people are gonna dislike him because he doesn't play defense. He's always bitching about calls, which LeBron does it. Every superstar does it. Most of the time, those guys are getting whacked. They're getting crushed when they go down the lane, but it's every call, man, and he'll flop and stuff, and it's I don't really want to hate him because that's not really something to hate about him.
Yeah.
He seems like a good dude, but he just bitches a lot.
Yes. Yep.
And I don't want to hate him, but it's next season. This is the last season I'm giving him to really not do that anymore and piss me off.
Yeah.
But if he does the next season, I don't know. I think I gotta hit him.
Yeah, I know. So that's that story. We're gonna give our super quick thoughts on this next story because everyone else has essentially beat it to a pulp. But Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. So we have not been together for a minute. I did go to the Chicago Sky against the Washington Mystics game because my school had an alumni event. So we ended up going there, and then we got these.
Nice.
We're going to the game. Yeah.
Nice.
So that was one of the main reasons I ended up going to it. They also have a bottomless brunch now. They're going to start doing at some games, which I might have to consider that. But what are your thoughts on how everything is going? And then you can include Asia Wilson in there if you want to.
Okay. The only reason this is literally the only thing you need to say about this entire Caitlin Clark thing, right? Involving whatever player you want to say. She is the only reason why we are talking about the WNBA.
Mm-hmm.
It does not matter who else is there. I don't care about Diana Taurasi. I don't care about Anybody else? Asia Wilson, like there's nothing being said. There's nothing being said that's like it, like no one's saying that those players are bad. But we know what Asia Wilson can do. Like she's a walking like 30 and 10 almost.
Yeah, yes.
She's like probably the best player in the league, if not like very close. Angel Reese, like, yeah, dude, like she's really good, but like if Caitlin Clark wasn't in the league, we would not be talking about her. Because how many of these Angel Reese types of players, how many of these, All-American players have come through college basketball, Diana Taurasi included, Sue Bird, all those UConn players, like how many have come through? Candace Parker, Brittany Griner, how many of them have come through? Brianna Stewart, another four-time All-American, four-time national champion.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit about them these days? Like no one has done what Caitlin Clark has done. She was the all-time leading scorer in women's and men's college basketball history, or she is. She took a team in Iowa, and I have said this. I don't know how many times I need to tell you guys this. The only reason why anyone also cared about her is because she didn't go to those other big-time schools. She was tearing it up in fucking Iowa, dude. Iowa, of all places. If she was at UConn, if she was at Tennessee, South Carolina, Notre Dame, whatever, she would be just another player. But because she went to Iowa, and she's now the all-time leading scorer in men's and women's college basketball history. Say what you want. I say it all the time. You still go out and do it. And she does it every single night. She is a Steph Curry effect. No other women's basketball player is doing what she's doing, bro. No other basketball player is doing in women's basketball is doing what she's doing with her shot selection, how deep she is, how good she is. Like how good she is, how great she is. She's gonna be one of the best players in the league in like 3 years, probably. But like we are only talking about women's basketball this long. We've been talking about it for months, dude. Years, a couple years now. And it's only because of Caitlin Clark. This has nothing to do with race. This has nothing to do with her being white and Angel Reese being black and those two being the top two players coming out of college women's basketball. It has nothing to do with that. Like Caitlin Clark played for Iowa, dude. Iowa. Like and Angel Reese won a national title. Dude, South Carolina went undefeated this year and won a national title. They beat Caitlin Clark. I haven't heard a word. I haven't heard Don Staley's name since the national title game. I haven't heard anything about South Carolina. But you know who we're talking about every single day? Caitlin Clark. You know why we're talking about Angel Reese, all these other chicks, all these other girls in the basketball? Caitlin Clark. That is it, dude. They're not flying. They're flying charter because of Caitlin Clark. The rating every what did I see today? Every channel.
It was like the top game was her.
Was Caitlin Clark. The crowds are nuts, dude. Like, but she has that Steph Curry effect, and like it's just like how she plays. She's getting bullied in her. First of all, her teammates need to step up, and they need to have like a Ron Artest out there. Yeah, they need to have someone, man. Like, because she's gonna get beat down, and it's gonna be sad. Like they're gonna burn her out by the time she's 4 or 5 years in the league.
Yes, yeah.
And she's getting all these endorsements, and rightfully deserved, dude. Like she is the face of women's basketball. Whether people like Angel Reese, like it's not because she's white, like, but people hate it because she's white. But she's just like she's so marketable. Again, she's the all-time leading scorer of women's basketball, back-to-back national player of the year. She fucking Iowa, dude. Iowa. Even if she went to Carolina or Duke or UCLA, like she would just be another player coming through women's basketball. But because she went to Iowa, of all places, I hate that school so much. But I mean, props, dude. She's the only reason why women's basketball is taking off like it is.
Yeah.
Good for her. Good for her. She seems like she has a great head on her shoulders, great people around her. It seems like she's like true to who she is, whatever. Like, so good for her. I just hope to God that the WNBA protects her and she's in the league for 15 years. Yeah. And maybe wins a title, doesn't matter, but her marketing ability, like what they can do with her, it's just gonna it's gonna carry the league for the next 10, 15 years, however long she's in the league. So good for her, man.
You said the perfect word because I was telling someone at my job this. She's the exact same thing as Steph Curry. Same exact storyline
Davidson,
as it.
like
Davidson. And that's why if Steph Curry would have went to a school like Duke or any of those others, it would not have been the same. Because there isn't a lot of a difference between there is, but in terms of the scoring, Steph Curry was very similar to how Bradley Beal was. They both said the 3-point shot. Steph Curry went to that school, which was a Cinderella. That's also why DJ Burns is getting so much, because it's like, where the hell did he come from? They're watching him. And then the same thing is, I don't know why I forget. So it was the white guy that played for a smaller school in the tournament. I don't know why I'm thinking Colorado, but one of those random schools that he was shooting a bunch of threes, maybe 7 or 8 threes he made in the tournament.
Oakland.
Yes, Oakland.
It was first round, dude hit 10 threes. Yeah.
Yes. So same thing with him. If he would have went to one of the big time schools, they wouldn't have talked about it as much. But there's so many people focusing on the guy from Oakland as well. So when you have that feel of nobody expected Iowa to get that far in back-to-back years, and then it's not a matter of. So what people need to understand is her not making the Olympic team. Some people are upset because they think she's one of the best in the league currently right now. The women that made it ahead of her, some are. My big thing with that Olympic team is, why the hell do you have 3 players from 3 different teams on the team? You only have 2 players that are not a part of that 3. Brittany Griner's always going to make it respectfully because of all the shit that happened to her. And then Diana Taurasi, they're doing that because she was the league for so long. But I don't think she should be in it. Now, the 3 that I do agree with are the ones from the Aces. Aces can get it for sure. The lady from the Dallas Wings can get it for sure. If you are on the Connecticut Sun, yes. But it's the Phoenix Mercury having 3 players, and they're not even one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the league. Mm-hmm. So,
I'm 100% with you. I think she needs to be on the team for sure, because I'll tell you right
marketing now, aspect.
Bro, I'll tell you right now, I'm not watching any of their games in the Olympics. Like unless they're playing for gold and it's like the only thing on. Honestly, not that I would watch it if Caitlin Clark, not that I would like zone in on their game, but there's 100% better chance I would watch it if she was on the team. Now that I'm not watching any of their games. I'm just like, it's just like, none of those players drive that kind of ability, dude. You'd have billions of eyes on the women's basketball in the Olympics. And it's now we gotta wait another 4 years for her to be on the team, and she'll be on the next one. But like this was a big miss. Like I get it, Diana Taurasi, they can't kick her off. Like she could be 55 and want to play, and they'll let her. It's like LeBron, all those guys that are on the team this year, all these OGs, they're always gonna have a spot. But that's a big miss by the WNBA.
Yeah, so that was the final thing there. I have something else that I'll talk about in terms of the actual sports section, and then we'll dive into the AFC North. But in terms of the finance crypto section, I'm going to use this and tie it into sports. But to start, for anyone that has not been paying attention to the crypto side, it's been a huge celebrity thing. So Steven probably knows a lot of these names. The first one that came out of cryptocurrency was Iggy Azalea. It went to 120 million at one point. It kind of came back down to 90 million. Steven, you can guess why. The only reason why it keeps trending up so much. Her ticker was her ticker was Mother. The next one was Andrew Tate. He had one. His ticker was Daddy Tate. The next one is Flocka. So Waka Flocka created one, but that shit went down the drain. Hulk Hogan had one. That shit went down the drain as well. Little Pump got a tattoo of Solana across his forehead. Crazy shit. What
kind of drugs you gotta be on to do that? Like, bro, exactly. How like not normal you have to be to do that.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So that was those are the main ones over there on the crypto side that I wanted to bring up. The other side, NVIDIA actually overtook Microsoft to be the most valuable company in the public stock exchange, essentially. The other thing I wanted to bring up was make sure to look into your Bitcoin miners. For anyone that doesn't know what that is, it's essentially the different miners that'll mine Bitcoin, but they can generate a lot of revenue from that. Going back to NVIDIA, because they're on the AI side, then I'll go back to the Bitcoin miners. But NVIDIA is sitting at a $3.34 trillion market cap currently right now. Insane. What some people do not realize is, so in the last 5 days, they've gone up 10%, aka that's $12, but they just had a 10-to-1 stock split. So right now they are technically valued at around $1,350, so $1,350, but you had a 10-to-1 stock split to put it at a price that the average American thinks that it's valuable and affordable, so they make it $135. The market cap is still going up. So they're at 3.34 trillion, which nobody expected that to happen. And the way it happened, here's the kicker. So if you look over the last year, they've gone up over 209%. So that's insane in itself that they did that. The other thing is when you look at Microsoft, because everyone always knew what Microsoft was. Microsoft hasn't done a stock split in a minute, but they're sitting at a $3.32 trillion market cap as well. So between two different companies, they're sitting at over $6.64 trillion in valuation, just two companies at that. And then a lot of people are probably wondering, okay, so we bring up those, but everyone knows about Apple. Apple's at a $3.29 trillion market cap. A lot of these numbers are inflated. The other big thing is it's an election year. So these numbers are going to be as high as they are because never in an election year are you going to see poor performance in the economy or the stock market, because then that looks terrible upon the current president and then the incoming president, whoever that might be. They don't want to ever receive a terrible market. It just looks bad upon them as well. But
No
so
bueno, as they say.
Huh?
No bueno, as they say.
And the other thing is Amazon is sitting at a $1.9 trillion market cap. Again, these are just insane numbers for the average individual. The last one I'll tell you guys about is Tesla, and Tesla is sitting at a $579 billion market cap.
Jesus.
So that's really how it goes. Some people call it the FANG stocks a lot of times. Before it was Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Nvidia, and Google. Clearly that's changed. They've kind of made a new acronym for a lot of this stuff. And that's also why the S&P 500 is the way it has been. So for the past year, the S&P 500 has gone up 25%. That's roughly around $1,000. It's increased. It's currently sitting at 54.87. So those are a lot of things you just need to end up taking into consideration when you look at all of this. It's not going to stop anytime soon. I don't think we see any type of pullback until maybe after January 20th when inauguration hits, but it's just going to continue to run up this year. Of course, when the election actually happens in November, it's going to run up. Then you have the holidays. It's going to still run up. Then it might not be until Q1 earnings reports start to come out next year that we really start to hear how good or how bad it is. They're also expecting rate cuts within interest rates. And then we've been hearing a lot of the CPI numbers. A lot of times people say some of the stuff is inflated or made up. I personally will say they are technically correct because I don't think the economy is doing this amazing all the time. But I'll leave it at that. So my question for you, Stephen, as we segue back into the sports side of things. So the prices of a 16-ounce beer have come out for the NFL. Which NFL team do you think has the highest price for a 16-ounce beer? And then which NFL team do you think has the lowest price for a 16-ounce beer?
Hold that thought.
Okay. So
I thought I heard a child. Let me check. Hold that thought.
Yeah. So for everyone out there, I'll kind of go ahead with this because then we'll dive into the AFC after this point. But so the average for anyone that doesn't know is $9.56 for an average 16-ounce beer, which is insane in itself. Right below the average, you have $9.50. That's Green Bay, and then Dallas Cowboys. Right above the NFL average at $10.50 you have the Tennessee Titans. I don't know why. The Seattle Seahawks. I don't know why. And the Carolina Panthers, which is insane in itself. So I'm not going to give you the top one. I'll give you the second to top and the one right below. At the bottom. So coming in number 2 for the highest, it's kind of obvious at $13.75 for a 16-ounce beer. You have the Los Angeles Chargers and the Los Angeles Rams.
Oh, I was not going to guess that.
You can assume that. So now at the bottom, I'm not going to give you the two teams that are sitting at the bottom, but the one right above the last spot at $6.59 is the Cincinnati Bengals. So now going off of that information, who do you think holds the top spot for the most expensive 16-ounce beer?
Cowboys?
No.
No, Las Vegas.
No. So I'll give you another chance with this. So the number one spot is not the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys, and I apologize because you weren't here when I said this, but the Cowboys are right below the national average. They're at $9.50. The Cowboys and Green Bay Packers are both $9.50. Last guess.
Dolphins?
No. So the Dolphins are at $11.
I missed all the names you said.
So the number one spot, and I actually didn't say the Dolphins before. So the national average is $9.56. At $11 with the Dolphins are the New York Jets and the New York Giants and the Commanders, aka the Washington Commanders. I don't know why they're so expensive. I guess they got to make up over there. Number one at $14.67 are the Philadelphia Eagles.
Wow.
Which is crazy. But if you look at the ticket prices, it kind of makes sense. Now going to the cheapest, and these are obvious, but one of them is absolutely going to change. I can assure you of this. Sitting at $6.25 are the Atlanta Falcons and the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I was gonna say Detroit. I would say Detroit, and where's Cleveland on that list? I was gonna say the Browns too. Since you said the Bengals, I was gonna say.
So the Browns are sitting at $8.13 with the Arizona Cardinals and the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay. Where are the Steelers on that list?
The Steelers are, I mentioned them as well. So they're right below the national average. They're at $9.29.
That's not bad.
Which it's interesting when you look at this because the two different teams in the same state are very different prices. You have one that's $9.29, the other one that's $14.67. But what I do appreciate is any teams that share a stadium, they're the same price. The Jets and Giants are the same. The Chargers and Rams are the same. The Las Vegas Raiders are $12. So the only, and then fuck the Jaguars because I don't know why they have an $11.50 beer for them. But so that's everything over there that I wanted to bring up. And I'm going to use that as a segue into one of our stories and then also going into the main event that we're going to talk about today to close everything up. First thing is there's a bill that has been approved in the state of Missouri that will make it more appealing for the Kansas City Chiefs to potentially be lured to Missouri. As everyone knows, they currently play in Missouri. They're trying to lure them back to the original place of Kansas. I don't know how that's actually going to go because Missouri definitely seems like the more appealing place than for the team to play in Kansas itself. You're going to just get a lot more tumbleweeds and shit like that. But they're playing in Kansas City, Missouri, and they want to bring them to Kansas. However that's going to work, who really knows? But that's the one story. The next thing I want to go into is our main event. So for anyone that doesn't know, we've been covering the AFC. So the first couple of teams we covered were the AFC West we did, the AFC South we did, and then we started with the AFC North. We're going to finish everything off with the AFC East. For anyone that does not know, the Dolphins fumbled the bag on this whole shit because they really should have had home field advantage in the AFC East. But the Buffalo Bills were 11-6 last year. The Miami Dolphins were 11-6 as well. The New York Jets did not have Aaron Rodgers after the third play of the game. They had Zach Wilson, and they were 7-10. Then the New England Patriots end up parting ways with Coach Bill Belichick. Shout out to Tom Brady for having Jay-Z perform for him at the Hall of Fame speech. The Ring of Honor speech that they had in New England. And they were 4-13. They have a new coach, Gerard Mayo. So kind of setting the scene with that. One, before we get into it, I do have a question for you, Steven.
Yep.
So with Aaron Rodgers, I know you've probably heard about Aaron Rodgers not being at mini camp right now, mini camp. What are your thoughts on that and him just being at this retreat that he's doing?
I don't think it matters. If it was like a fifth-year guy, I think it'd be a bigger deal. It also wouldn't be happening. But it's like whatever. Okay, so they're putting all their eggs in the basket for Aaron Rodgers, right? Like, stays healthy as they were heading into last year. Stay healthy. They drafted. We'll get into it. They got pieces around him. Like their goal was to win the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
He's at that point where like he probably doesn't need to do much to get ready for it. Playbook is still the same as it was last year. He's got some different weapons, whatever. Like, he'll be fine. But I think he's one of those guys where let him do whatever the hell he needs to do. These mini camps or whatever they are, they're not for him. They're not. Like, I get it. He's building chemistry with guys. I'm sure he did it last year. Like, you could tell how devastated what's his name, Garrett Wilson was after the injury. Like, so he's like, dude, I'm sure his teammates absolutely love him, right? Mm-hmm. I'm sure, because he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I know we talk about only one Super Bowl, one appearance. I get it, whatever. But like, consistently, regular season wise, he's one of the best. If not the best that we've seen talent wise. I mean, it's crazy. So let him do whatever he needs to do mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever it is, to get ready for this season. And he'll be at training camp. He'll be fine. There's probably a reason why he's doing it now. But he'll be fine come training camp. And I don't think any Jets fans are concerned. I think the only thing they're concerned about, knock on wood, he stays healthy all season, and they do what they wanted to do last year, and hopefully that's win the Super Bowl. So I am not worried about it in any capacity.
So that's kind of how I felt. The two other things just to bring up are Stephon Diggs was traded out of this division, and usually we end up recapping each position, so we'll kind of go through that quickly. So for quarterback-wise, because of how things are currently, we're not talking about both players in their prime. Quarterback, I'm going with Josh Allen. He just brings a lot more to the table right now. Yes, Aaron Rodgers, you can make an argument for. Running back-wise was probably the toughest one. So running back, if we're going strictly one player and not a team, I would go Breece Hall. But because it's in terms of the backfield, I have to go with the Dolphins. When you have Devon Achane and then you also have Raheem Mostert, both doing what they did last year, you kind of have to go with them. They remind me a lot of the Phoenix Suns in terms of their style of play. It's just a lot of run and gun. Wide receivers, as long as Tyreek Hill is there, you kind of have to go with the Dolphins. Tight end wise, I love myself the Bills tight ends because you have Dalton Kincaid and then you also have Dawson Knox. Yes, some people can make an argument for what can potentially happen with the Jets. Of course, Hunter Henry's there at the Patriots if you want, but that's who I'm going with for tight end. O-line is another toss-up. It's definitely not the Jets because the Jets got Aaron Rodgers injured. The other one is it's between the Bills and the Dolphins for me, and I'm going with the Dolphins for the standpoint of if it's that high-flying offense and all the touchdowns happen, you have to give some credit to the O-line. Defense-wise, I think that's the easiest. It put them in the position that they were in, and that's going to be the Jets for me. So how do you want to end up going with it for you?
All right. Quarterback, Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Been there, done that. Running back, I'll probably go James Cook.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. He definitely has those games where catching out of backfield really adds to him, but it's not. They don't do it enough. So I would say the Bills receivers. I think I'm going to go with the Dolphins. Mm-hmm. I do like what the Bills have. Just haven't seen it, in action. Curtis Samuel, kind of low key, not a bad pickup. Chase Claypool, we'll see. Pretty disappointing in the Steelers, but nonetheless, Keon Coleman, he's riding the wave right now of being a rookie. So I think he's really good. Garrett Wilson might be the I don't know if he's the best receiver in the division, but he's very close, I think.
Yeah.
Probably way better than people want to say. I think because the Dolphins have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. They also have OBJ now, which is whatever. I don't think it matters anymore. Like it would have.
No, it's just a name.
Yeah, exactly. Bills, I'll go with them for the tight ends. I do like Hunter Henry, but quarterback, I don't trust him. So whatever.
Yeah.
Offensive line, I'll go with the Bills. I love Deion Dawkins at left tackle. I think he's super underrated. Jets, they got Tyron Smith at left tackle. They also got my boy Olu Fashanu from Penn State. Shout out to Penn State. They got like a good offense, probably a sneaky good one. Now, Tyron Smith is not the Tyron Smith he was, 10 years ago.
Cowboys.
When he was just like all alien world team. But I still think if he's healthy, he can still probably provide you like 70% of that maybe. So, we'll see. Again, we'll see. But the Bills are established, so I'll go with the Bills.
So then the final part.
Do you want me to keep going on defense or what?
Yeah, go ahead, say your defense.
Right. Defense, man, defense, I really like the Jets. I think Hassan Reddick, I know there's a lot of shenanigans going on with that right now. Don't need to talk about that. I think that's another thing that will get squared away by training camp, or at least I hope it does. That's part of the reason why I'm picking them. Sauce Gardner, obviously one of the best DBs in the league. CJ Mosley, old head, but like you need that guy, like especially a middle linebacker. You need CJ Mosley. Quinn Williams still killing it. The Bills, again, another established defense. I got my old roommate Daquan Jones, at D tackle. Shout out to Daquan Jones. Pats, I think CJ Mosley will try and put his stamp on that, but that's going to be tough. They got beat up last year. But I'm going to go if Hassan Reddick is playing. Like if everything's good with that, I'll probably go with the Jets.
Solid. Yeah,
because they have a really good front seven and then a lockdown corner who can take away almost half the field probably. So I'm going to go with the Jets, but by the slimmest of margins.
Yeah. So final part we like to end up bringing up is the NFL draft that just happened and kind of going into our surprises and sleepers. So I have 3 and then 2 honorable mentions, and I'm hoping people in this world actually don't listen to one of them because I don't want them to take them. First one is Keon Coleman. I just thought he was solid at Florida State. He's been good. Just watch out for injuries. That's kind of the big thing with some wide receivers. The other one is because Aaron Rodgers is not going to be around for forever. I think Jordan Travis has the potential to be something that the Jets could end up liking. If Aaron Rodgers can be around Jordan Travis could be positive for Garrett Wilson's growth and also Breece Hall's growth. They could have something. I'm just hoping the injuries don't end up hindering him still. That's always the big thing. And it's cold. The man didn't hurt his arm. He hurt his leg. So I really am hoping that the knees and the cold don't end up impacting him a lot. They don't play in a dome. The other one, and this is the real sleeper that's starting to pick up storm, Javon Baker for the New England Patriots. And played at UCF, but that's not where he always was. If you look back at his history, he was another place. And a lot of this does impact him. He also said, and this is what really got me, he said he's even going to be able to make the people in the wheelchair stand up. That's the type of play he has.
That's fucked up, but that's pretty out of pocket, but all right. God, damn, I haven't heard that one yet.
And he said, get your popcorn ready, as T.O. says. But so that's the main thing with them over there. The other 2 that I think people should pay attention to, just honorable mention. One, Muhammad Kamara that went to the Dolphins, linebacker over there. The Dolphins are going to need someone out of Colorado State. The other one, and this is a homer pick, but he's for the Patriots, Caden Wallace.
Boy.
That's someone else I think that people should pay attention to. Gerard Mayo knows how to end up making it do what it do over there. So I'm hoping Wallace can end up being another one, a part of that tree that goes over there. Who do you have?
All right. So I was pretty dialed into this before I took my 3-week hiatus. So I had to kind of look back at the selections as we were talking about this. I think I'm probably going to go with a couple Penn State guys. I think that's obvious. As well, because I think they're going to be really good. Chop Robinson, DN, from the Dolphins in the first round. Undersized, quote unquote, for a DN, but he had some of the best times at the combine for a DN. He had one of the best 10-yard splits ever by a guy his size at his position. His 40 time was, I think, in the 4.4s. His first step is crazy good.
Yeah.
So I think he's gonna be really solid. He's gonna be a starter right away. I think Olu Fashanu, another Penn State guy with the Jets, if he'll have a chance if they don't want to play him this year, which they don't have to because they have Tyron Smith. Now he can learn. I mean, from one of the best left tackles that we've seen of our era, and learn from him. They're two totally different guys, two totally different players, but nonetheless, the skill sets are still there. So, depending on health wise for Tyron Smith, we might not see Olu this year. Not the worst thing in the world, and have him in your back pocket as you're going along. You're paying him all the money, so maybe they'll just throw him in there because of that. But regardless, and I'm going to ramble off a couple of names here. Braylon Allen, running back for the Jets. Well, Wisconsin.
Yeah,
he was supposed to be the next guy after Jonathan Taylor. Didn't go that way. Had a couple injuries, but I still think that's a big pick. They got him in the 4th round. Jordan Travis, he's in a good situation to learn. Same thing with Olu. Like, learn from the best. Sleeper, I don't know about sleeper, but I think Joe Milton going to the Pats.
Yes,
he's super inaccurate at times, but man, he has a fucking cannon of an arm. And I think another guy that they picked up in the 2nd round, Jalen Polk out of Washington. Now, he's not the same as Rome Odunze. I think Rome Odunze is better, but I don't think he's better by much. I just think he just got all the targets, or most of the targets when they were at Washington. But I do like Jalen Polk, another like possession receiver. It's cliche to say, but I think quarterback situation will obviously impact his stats. But one of those guys that would match up extremely well with Joe Milton if Joe Milton can get a handle on things and control his accuracy. Do I love Drake May at number 3? No, but I think Drake May is solid. I don't think he's the answer, but I think he's solid. And I don't think Joe Milton's the answer, but I think you can get way more creative with your offense with Joe Milton.
Yeah.
I think that's Keon Coleman. Yeah. Obviously that gives, it's not a replacement for Stephon Diggs, but
no,
it can't hurt, right?
They don't have a number 1. That's why.
Yeah. And I think he can be that guy, but he's like, calm down, dude. Just calm down, man. Just let it breathe for a second. Like, we get it. We all appreciate you, but just like let it breathe. So if I had to pick one of those guys, I would probably say Joe Milton, just because he's a quarterback. But I would say Braylon Allen is another guy. He's similar to Breece Hall, not as great out of the backfield. But I think if he can stay healthy, he's a great option for the Jets. In the 4th round, good value pick right there. So I would say, the other guy they got, Malachi Corley, Western Kentucky wide receiver. They toss the ball around 100,000 times a game. So I think that's I don't know what he's expected to do coming in there. But again, another situation, he can go in and learn from Garrett Wilson, who's another young wide receiver to learn from. Completely different guys, but nonetheless, learn from the best and pick up on those habits, and you can hit on that for sure. So they got Olu, Malachi Corley, and Braylon Allen, the top 3 picks in the draft. Not bad.
They did go.
So they're trending in the right direction.
Yeah. So wrapping up everything with sports, and then we'll go to the what you got. So Cameron Brink did get injured tonight. Some people are speculating it could be a torn ACL or something. The way she fell, it almost looked similar to a deer falling, like going quick, and then like a baby deer falling. It was, but I want to say this in the nicest way possible. Sometimes those injuries look bad because how some of them fall, and then it isn't terrible. But I'm hoping that it isn't a bad injury just for her sake. Yeah. But what you got?
All right. So I'll make this quick. So we did swimming. Both kids they started off the swim team. My daughter, she's a 3rd year doing it. She's great. She's fine. She gets in there. She knows what she's doing. She actually finished first. They had time trials on Friday last week. She finished first Saturday. First in butterfly, which is a very hard stroke to do. Everybody else got DQ'd. She was the only one that did it right, but she still finished first. So she knows what she's doing. She's good.
Yeah.
Mason, who's the athlete of the two, the better athlete of the two, I've seen this kid swim 25 meters. Like, I've seen him do it. I know he can go from one side to the next. And I think the expectations were knowing how good he is at every. And I'm not like trying to hype my son up as the next, Bo Jackson, but like, he's an athlete. He's a really good athlete for 5.
Yeah.
He's like, he picks up on everything very quickly, and it's very impressive. And I've seen him do it. He loves the water, loves the pool. But dude, he last week, Monday and Tuesday, he had 2 meltdowns that I have just never experienced with him before. He has meltdowns, but this was just different. Half hour of just like could not be consoled at all, and just like just in front of everybody, and like he just had, I don't know if it was performance anxiety or what. He was just like, "Fuck this! I'm not doing the swim team." And just lost his mind. And I tried one of those deals. I was like, all right, dude, like, you don't get in the pool. It's either you get in the pool or we go home and you're in your room for the rest of summer. We canceled summer and no more pool. He's like, okay, cool. Let's go home, Dad. I was like, damn, backfired on me. I was like, all right, you really don't want to do this. So I never wanted to be the parent that like forced my kid to do something they didn't want to do. I think that's basic shit. But we all, as well as I do, you're around it a lot more than I am. Like, there's parents that do that, and they suck.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's very unfortunate because you're going to burn your kids out by the time they're 13, 14, and it's going to suck. So I don't do that. If Mason told me he didn't want to play football, fine. Baseball, cool, man. Whatever you want to do, you do. But, I told him, I was like, look, dude, I'm not going to put you out there. I'm not going to have you do something that I don't think you can do. Like, I know you can do this. We believe in you. We have faith in you. The only reason why we're putting you out there is because I know you can do it. But he's like, dude, I don't give a shit what you say. Like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And he just loves to go to the pool, mess around with the boys. He chases girls all the time. He's just like his old man. Like, he just loves dicking around. And I'm cool with that. Like, that's cool. And it's so early in the summer, dude. Well, like, we have a great thing going with the pool. Like I was telling you about before we came on. My kids are 7 and 5. They don't need us at the pool that much. Like, it's very minimal. Like, I don't have to get in the pool all the time. It's great. So we have a great thing going with that. So we didn't want him to go to the pool and associate that with like negative feelings and negative vibes, and just completely ruin the experience for him. That would just be awful for everybody involved. So we have a good thing going for it. Brooke was like, hey, let's just can it this year and just let him do his thing at the pool. And it's like, it's fine. But like, moral of the story is, and this is my dog, by the way, moral of the story is like, don't be that parent. Like, if he doesn't want to do it, don't want to do it. But like, he straight up told us, he's like, I'm not about that life. We were like, okay, you're not. Like, whatever, dude. Like, he's just, man, it was, but I've never seen it before. And we got in the car driving home from the pool, like after those 2 nights, and we looked at each other like, whoa, that was crazy. But yeah, I mean, kids will tell you, man, just different ways. And then we listen to him, and he's happy as can be now. Like, loves going to the pool, chasing all the girls, doing his thing, whatever, hanging out with the boys and just being a kid, man. Don't, you can't take that away from them. Can't take that away from your kids. Like, let them be kids, man. They want to go be kids, let them do it. But don't be that parent.
Yeah. So I have 2 things. One, I'm going to go off of your parent story because I've seen some of the craziest stuff in terms of parents trying to force their kids. So I used to teach T-ball and baseball, and I used to have 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, their parents would say, oh no, our child is left-handed. Like, it's going to bat left-handed. He's just like Bryce Harper. I mean, I'm giving him the bat and he's grabbing it with the right hand.
Yeah, right.
He's not left-handed. And like, no, just put him on the left side. I'm like, all right, this is going to be your problem at like 10 to 15 years old. When this kid is like, it feels weird on the left side. Why am I still over here? It's not going to become a comfort thing overnight for this child. So that's the first thing. The other thing is, and I was talking about this before. So my brother came over for the game yesterday. We ended up watching it. For anyone that doesn't know, and Steven will get a better idea. So I'm not in the Baltimore-esque type of lifestyle or the DC type of lifestyle. How, you have the human beings that are outside everywhere in New York City, Baltimore, DC. We have it maybe 90% of that. If y'all are 100%, we're probably like 85, 90%. More my brother is, he's essentially, in the suburbs of like an area. He's 45 minutes outside of DC. So when he comes to me or anyone comes visit me, it's a culture shock. So I was walking him back to his car, and in the distance, I saw this guy sitting down on like a ledge. It wasn't a chair, but it was a ledge. And we start to get closer. The man stands up, and my brother looks at me and is like, what just happened? But I said, no, that's not it. I just don't want him to come our way because I've seen them come my way. This man gets up, starts to walk the opposite direction. And then he said, why did he just do that? I said, it's not over. He takes off on a full-on sprint in the other direction. And then he said, see, and this is why we don't come visit you.
Crackhead, dude. Crackhead.
Exactly.
My man, crackhead.
And then he texted me like 30 minutes later saying, did you ever see him again? No.
No.
I don't know where he went.
No, dude. No, he's in the next state. He's in the next state over. He's gone.
He just like randomly took off in another direction, and then that was kind of it. So that's really everything. Before we wrap it up, what division do you want next time we're on the show? We're in the NFC now.
We'll just go NFC East. We'll work our way backwards. We'll finish with the NFC North. Or no, NFC. What did you do first? NFC North we did first, or AFC North?
East. Yeah, the AFC North.
All right, so we'll end with the NFC North. We'll just cool.
Go backwards. All right. So until next time, we out.